And the angel said, "Do not be afraid, Mary. You have found favor with God. You will be with child and give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus."
So for us as a family, there's no question that rest is maybe the most important thing we do all week. Hey guys, welcome back. It's Eric Sztanyo from Keller Williams Realty and TeamStanyo.com, where we are helping you find your home and strengthen your family. I'm here in the Sztanyo Banyo today. Welcome in, Sztanyo Clanyo. And I wanted to do something a little bit different. We're not going to talk about real estate as much today. We're going to talk about strengthening your family. And I haven't done many videos like this. Some of you guys may have seen the video I did where I shared my story of how I got into real estate, which was about 5 years ago now, and tells a little bit about my testimony as well and kind of my journey of faith. And I wanted to talk today a little bit about this idea of family. Our tagline for the channel is find your home, strengthen your family. Well, why do I have that? Well, I have 5 kids. It's easy to brand the 5 kids, right? And I love working with families. As I was thinking through kind of like my favorite clients, not that if you're single or don't have kids, I don't like working with you, because I do, but it was easy for me to relate with other people that have similar experiences. So, I thought through kind of like my first couple of years, the clients that I really enjoyed helping them find their home were the ones who were really thinking deeply about the space and how it mattered for their family, what they wanted to train into their children, who kind of had a vision for the house as more than just like, a place they live and that they really like, which is important too. But there was things like hospitality or land or whatever, how they want to use the house, hosting others, maybe have an in-law stay with them, guest rooms, things like that. But today I wanted to talk about this idea of rest, strengthening your family with rest. What does that mean? And so I'm going to do a little story time. If this video is not for you guys, feel free to bounce off. I get it. But I wanted to try something a little different. And particularly in this series, I wanted to start with this idea of rest and Sabbath, or Shabbat, as it might be called, and what it's meant to us. Because I said in the opening of this video, it's the cornerstone of my family's week. It is the most important day, hands down. It definitely wasn't always like that. And so if I were to go back in time and tell a little story, this was probably, how old was I? It's probably 23, 24 years old, about to be married. Maybe, I can't remember if I was married to Whitney yet or not. And we may have been married. Yes, I think we were. And I went to a training of a friend of mine about, the title of the training was like the rhythms of God, or God's rhythms, or something like that, which was a very strange and bizarre picture in my mind. I was thinking of God dancing, or like, I don't know. I didn't know what it meant, but it was more closely aligned with like, if you've never heard that phrase before, maybe like the calendar of God, or the time blocking of God. Or it was more about, the rhythms of a day. We can find these biblically, in Genesis 1, there was evening and morning the first day when God created light out of the darkness. We see the rhythms of the week, that God worked for 6 days and he rested on the 7th, which we're going to talk about more in this video. And then there's also, there's rhythms of the month and of the solar and lunar calendars. There's rhythms of the year with the seasons. And so the idea of the training was, how do you get more in step with these rhythms that are baked into creation? And again, if you don't believe in God, I get it. That's okay. If you know my story, I'm a Christian, so I'm coming in this video from a biblical point of view, and I just want to share how it's shaped my life. You can take it or leave it. So the kind of the end of the story was, or that training, maybe the first step was, you should probably start with implementing a day of rest, a Sabbath day of rest. That's maybe the most practical place to start when you're trying to dig into the rhythms of God. And so my wife and I, which I think we were married, we were newly married, no kids yet. We said, okay, let's go for it. Let's try to implement a Sabbath. At that time, we were, like I said, newly married. We were both Young Life leaders. We both had other jobs. If you know anything about Young Life, we were basically volunteer youth ministers for like 30 to 35 hours a week, on top of our jobs. And I think she was actually still finishing up college too. So she had college jobs and was volunteering at this ministry like 35 hours a week. It was kind of a crazy schedule. We didn't have kids yet, like I said. So we were almost still living like a single person schedule when we were newly married, which I would not recommend. But, it was good. And so, but the idea of implementing a day of rest was super challenging. We're like, a day? Like, what do you do? Like, we work really hard. And we had grown up, as kids in America who are like, oh, you go to school 5 days a week and then you have the weekends to play. Now we were just in kind of a different season where we were volunteering a lot of our time. And so a day of rest was very, very, very difficult for us to implement. We're like, what do? Do you just like sit there? Do you like, what is rest? What is not rest? Are we obligated to do this? Are we like sinning if we're not doing this? I could certainly go into, I don't want to make this video too long. I can answer all those questions. But I just want to hit 3 things that we've discovered over the years as we've learned to implement this and as it's become kind of like the most important thing of our week. Number 1 is that rest is a gift from God. And I think it's easy, I know for myself and a lot of people who grew up in the church, it's easy to think of rules as things you have to do. When I think of Sabbath now, I think of something that I get to do. The reason I say it's a gift is when Jesus was being asked about Sabbath, he said, no, they were pressing on him, the Pharisees. He's like, you don't understand. Like, Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. And every week, that's kind of how we look at it. It's like this gift from God that we get to open up and say, thank you. Like, this is amazing. In Genesis, it says 6 days he worked, on the 7th he rested, and we are created in his image. Therefore, we're in alignment with him when we rest on the 7th day. Now, the counterpoint to that is you got to work 6 days. And we typically, working for the weekends is certainly a thing in America. And so for us personally, our rest day is on, we try to rest from Friday evening. We have a meal to kick it off through Saturday evening, basically, or late afternoon. And then from Saturday night and even all day Sunday is actually one of our busiest days. Like, we work really hard on that day. We work 6 days and we rest on the 7th. But that's point number 1, that Sabbath is actually a gift from man. Okay, point number 2 is that rest takes faith. You actually have to trust. This is something oftentimes we say at our meal when we kick it off, or if we have guests that we invite into this meal, we have these little things of like, why do we do Sabbath? And one of them is, we believe that God can do more in 6 days than what we can do in 7. And it's hard. If you've never implemented this before and you are like tight on cash, it's hard to rest. It's hard to slow yourself down. It actually takes faith. And I think one of the reasons God put this in our week is because if there's anything he wants from us in our life, I was actually at a men's group last night and we were talking about our purpose in life. And one of the ideas shared was like, I believe our purpose is to actually live a life of faith that trusts God. And the Sabbath, a day of rest, actually gives you a weekly opportunity to practice and to work out this faith muscle in your life, where you stop. And, so practically what I try to make that look like in my life is I don't answer phone calls. I don't answer emails. I try not to do any of the real estate work or my normal work things. And instead I relax and rest. It's a faith muscle, I think, that you get to build up. Like if you guys know the story of the Israelites, when they were in the desert and God provided food for them with manna, on the 6th day, he told them to take a double portion of manna. And on the 7th day, it wasn't there. And I just think this is part of his week that he wants us to constantly remember, trust me, trust me, trust me. And so on the Sabbath, if you implement that into your week, that's one of the things you get to do, which is practice trusting. So that's number 2. So number 1, rest is a gift. Number 2, rest takes faith. Number 3, the day is blessed. So if you go, again, I keep referring back to Genesis, but God actually said, it actually says God blessed that day. And this is not like maybe it's blessed. Like if you believe in the Bible, which I do, it is a real thing that the day is actually blessed and you can enter into that blessing. So for us, what we do with my family, what we do with my kids, we kind of have a few ceremonious things that we do each week. One of the things that we do when we sit down for that dinner is we we try to do two things every week. We try to remember and we try to proclaim. If you know Andrew Peterson, he's got a great song about that. We actually have a musical playlist that we play every week to help, because we're forgetful people and we can get into these weird cycles of forgetting the story, and we need to be reminded of the story. So we have musical playlists. We have a scented candle that we light every week. And I tell the story every week. My kids are around the table and I say, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the surface of the deep. And my kids turn off the lights. They're like, they're like, darkness. And we sit in darkness around the dinner table. And then I say, and God said, let there be light. And my wife goes, and she lights a match. And all the kids are looking at this candle. And we remember the story and we retell the story that we were in darkness, and then Jesus came into the world and there was light. So each week in our day of this blessing, we get to remember that story, and then we just do really fun things. So like we usually have a really good meal on Friday night. I usually make pancakes on Saturday morning, and it's like a big pancakey fun, deal where mom gets to rest a little bit because she's been working her butt all week, and dad does some of the pancakes. And then we do our favorite things on Saturday on our rest day. We go hiking, or we go, to a park, or we go whatever the thing is that you love to do. I would recommend put that on your day of rest. Maybe it's reading a book. Maybe it's not doing anything. Maybe it's just lying down. Maybe it's taking a nap. All of these are very, very good things to try to shut down the normal work that you might do through the week and enter into this day that is blessed. Okay, this video is going a little long. As you can tell, I could talk about this for a long time. If you guys like this style of video, I know this has nothing to do with real estate. Many of you may unsubscribe because of this. I get that. But if you are interested in more of these kind of like dad hacks, I've been a part of like family ideas and fatherhood groups for a long time now. And I love talking about this stuff. It's a real passion of mine in terms of strengthening your family. So we do a lot on this channel about finding your home. We haven't done as much around strengthening for your family. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below if you like it. What are some of the things you do to strengthen your family? What other topics do you want to maybe chat about? Maybe we'll put these on a different day of the week or something like that. And if you do a Sabbath already, what are some of the family hacks that you guys do on your Sabbath that make it great? All right, guys, hope you have a great day. I'm heading into the office to get some work done, and thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to join the Sztanyo. And again, the reason we're doing this is we believe that home is where families grow strong together. It's a deep belief of ours. And so I love helping people negotiate and do all the things real estate wise, but I also love seeing a family find the right spot where they can grow roots and strengthen their family. Thanks, guys. Again, so much for watching. We'll talk to you later.